Well, howdy there. Welcome back to the homestead. We're back in the yard garden here. And looky there. We've got the tote up on another tote so that now we've got a little bit of water pressure. Yep, and next to it is a cat chalet that Ivan built. And he also dug a small hollow underneath the bottom tote so that we can have a secondary cat camp, and hopefully that will end some of the fighting and biting between Huey and his unneutered sons, because that's kind of crazy. Alright, so as we walk down this front row, no sign of the sunchokes yet, but there are starting to be some sunflowers coming up. I just love them. I also saw that some nasturtiums are coming up. Let me see where I saw that. Yes, right there. Little nasturtium. And just lots and lots of these, hopefully different colored sunflowers from the dollar store. And then some of them have beets coming up. Let me see if I can find one. Yep, I found some. There's beets mixed in with the sunflowers. Now looking at the row next to the horse corral, nothing from the beets yet, but there are starting to be some peas popping up. Let me find some. Yep, there she blows. That is going to be a snow pea. Excited about that. Down here at the sugar snaps, we've got one right there. And yes, I got so excited, and as I told you, I saved seeds from magnolia snap peas, and so this whole row has 2 lines of snap peas, and then in front we've got different things like Swiss chard, and then that's a lamb's quarter from Native Seed Source, and then romaine, and a different type of spinach that I've never grown before, Marenta, and a Merveille lettuce. Beets. Beets are one of my favorite vegetables. Both the roots and the greens are just delicious. Nantes, half-long carrots. And so now I just need to add mulch and water it in. Over here in the first section that I cultivated for onions last year, just 2 days, maybe 3 days at tops, I plucked these grasses like down to the ground practically and fed the yumminess to the rams over there. But I'm not pulling them out because when you stress a plant like this, it sends exudates down into the root system, and then that actually causes neighboring plants to become collaborative and help each other. So that's like kind of a plant tonic. Anyway, so I had groomed all of these tufts of grasses down to that size, and look how tall they grew. They're growing an inch or 2 a day in this amazing sunshiny high 70s, barely touching the 80s days. And then I had done the same to that first tuft of grass, and look at it. Another thing that happens when you cut grass, it secretes a youthful growth hormone, and it kind of acts like a baby again with crispy, crunchy freshness. So you forestall making the reproductive seed head, and then you forestall the senescence. Pretty stoked with the garlic bed and The new baby onions are thriving. I think they like this trenched furrow type of flood watering situation, and I did as the master gardener suggested and mulched heavily, which I like to do anyway out here. Oh yes, they really like that I picked this grass for them. Yep. The leeks too were the latest alliums that went in, and they're getting their legs at last. Now let's see what's germinating at the end of this row. But first, Aristocrat flaps his lip when he gets fresh grass for a treat. It's so funny. Now, last time that I showed you this row, some of the spinaches had already started sprouting, and they're getting bigger. And then a lot of radishes are popping up in the next little section. Tons of radishes. And ever since we learned that you can cook radishes, it's just been a game changer. They're like super fast little starchy yum balls in your stew, or just by themselves. And then if you add the greens, it's even more nutrition. Now, I have not seen any Alaska peas coming up yet. These are shelling peas, English peas. Nothing coming up there. Just radishes. Lots and lots of radishes coming up. And that's about it. And like I said, those were the fresh seeds, were the radishes, and the fennel, celery, and turnip seeds were not quite as fresh. Now, speaking of mulch, I've observed this interesting effect, which is rock mulch. So wherever we've poured gravel to drive on, we've gotten much larger, lusher weeds growing. And this one right here is desert globe mallow with the apricot colored kind of miniature hibiscus blooms. Anyways, it's miles taller than its kindred in the ground, plain dirt. Right, see, here's one just out on the plain dirt, and it's about half to a third as tall as the one in the rock mulch. And we have not made further progress with Glenn, but as a request from one of my favorite subscribers, Steve, here's just a bit of a walk around. He likes tractors and has repeatedly wanted updates, and I just haven't had anything to share, but you can take a gander. Matt's tried to work on it, but now his work schedule has gotten a little bit more intense. We'll get to it. The management will see to it that we, do our obligations. Right, Igor? The 4-month-old grow-outs are bouncing around in the playpen. They're getting big, and they are just the sweetest little friendly guys. It makes it hard. It makes it wonderful, and it makes it hard. Just a really nice batch. Little 4-month-old bunnies. And now that it's getting to be about 80 degrees, the bunny rabbits start to get pretty hot. So they get their fan, and they get these saltillo tiles, soak those in water, and then they evaporatively cool the rabbits for the hot afternoon. And then when it gets even hotter, I really need to wean these ones. I did set up a place. When it gets hotter than that, they get ice bottles as well. And this is going to be, I'm going to put one of the bucks in this downstairs house, and then Lily White's babies are going to get to go in one of these. Well, you didn't have to come in here. Right. You know, Cat Claw is growing on me so much, I can't let him go. He's going to stay with us. Anyways, he's just the nicest rabbit ever. Now, these have been going outdoors most days. I had kind of a slow-moving morning this morning, and so they stayed inside today. But for the past several days, they've been going outside, and we've got some action going on. We've got some newbies in there. We've got some melons. And then over here, even more Swiss chard than before. And there's the lamb's quarter with the Aztec name. Even some cumin. That would be so neat to grow our own cumin seeds. Yes. And we are getting lots and lots of tomatoes popping up. Let's see. The stripy Germans, the Cherokee purples, the beefsteaks. Got a few Gardener's Delights coming in. Got some artichokes. Oh man, I really, really want to get the artichokes established here because those can perennialize. And they make pups. And they're just big, leafy, shade-making, biomass-making awesomeness. So I'm really having high hopes for those. Got some, I know we had some tomatillos, yes. Milpas and poncho. Tomatillos are coming in. Peppers are taking their time, like peppers like to do. Right, so there's magnolia chunks were a small chunk of this, and they swelled up to 2 or 3 times their size when I soaked them. So this is the variety that I originally got in 2020, and I brought these seeds from the old place after I saved them from that crop. These buttercup seeds, I can't wait to start putting these out. Just gotta get the spring crops in first. Now these are full of the chaff or whatever from the sunflower heads, but those are conservation sunflower seeds. Can you believe it? This willow tree has catkins on it. And in the rabbit garden, things are starting to come back full volume. We've got all kinds of things that I planted that overwintered poorly, but they did manage. Look at all these sunflowers coming up, volunteers everywhere. And then in the filigrees, lots of that pasture mix is returning for action for this year. And once again, these grasses get mowed down by either me or by a hopping rabbit. And then they just keep growing. And these grasses are actually, I think, helping a red currant down in there because that thing did not like direct sun. And our little rootstock, hardy rootstock apple tree is back in leaf. There's a red raspberry over there that's coming back as well. So a couple survivors. Whatever kind of grass this is, I just love it. It's strong and thick. It doesn't mind if it gets snowed on, but now that it's warm, it's just gorgeous. More sunflower seeds are germinating here. Well, the pond doesn't look like much, but the planter around it is also busting out some sunflowers. So that's really cool. It basically didn't grow anything last year, so what an improvement. And yes, I have stalled completely on the cold frame, but once again, you know, I have to prioritize and we just have to take things one step at a time. Here's that red raspberry, and I think there's probably going to be more underneath that mulch. That's what it did last year. And next to it, in this little herb circle, thyme came back from the dead. The rabbits ate that like mad. And then there's mint coming back. And I noticed, well, I think the rabbit ate that too. They like the garden sage. And that had come back from them eating it down to the ground. And I think it's gone again. I don't know, maybe it'll come back. Here's Big Daddy Poplar Hoppler. He's the one that nibbled at that garden sage. You guys like your daddy? He's big. Well, I hope you're having a great Friday wherever you are. Thanks for joining me. Cheers and blessings.